is crazy. Oh wow, that was a work of art by Haxton.
Take a bow, Ike.
Hello. Today we continue with Triton action, and I want to show you two big bluffs right before the bubble in the 200k Invitational event. Our first hand is a clash of two biggest stacks at a feature table. Preflop action wasn't captured on camera, but we have a full history of the hand, so let's see what happened before. Patrik Antonius, as a chip leader, raised from the first position. King 7 suited here is a good open, and if we compare this range to chip EV scenario, we can see that he can be considerably wider when he can put a lot of pressure on smaller stacks. Linus defended 10-5 suited on big blind, and we can see that he should do it pretty wide, with all suited hands. This is a very specific scenario, because usually close to the bubble we want to be much tighter, but here he can call even more than in the chip EV scenario. It's because on 80 big blinds his stack isn't at big risk. It would be very hard for him to lose all his chips in a single raised pot. And because Linus is much wider than in chip EV scenario, he can also defend more, with almost only calls and literally no 3-bets, except crazy reship with ace-king off and a few smaller 3-bets with pocket aces only. On the flop, Patrik c-bet for 30% of the pot, and solver here uses almost only this small sizing, with all hands in his range. On this board he has overall range advantage, but he doesn't have almost any trips, because the only deuce he opens is ace-deuce suited, so he has only two combos of that. Against this small bet, Linus should raise quite a lot. He has all suited deuces here, a lot of tens, and still quite a lot of overpairs. 10-5 of hearts is mostly calling, and that's what Linus did. Turn isn't the best card for Patrik because he shouldn't have many eights, and also it doesn't open many straight draws for him. This card is donked by big blind sometimes, but Linus checked, and Patrik fired another barrel, this time with a little bit more than half pot bet. Here he shouldn't bet too often, and when betting he should use mostly bigger sizing. Big blind is supposed to call all his top pairs except ace-10 that's good enough to raise here. We see 6 of spades on the river, and this card is a brick. Patrik didn't give up and fired a third barrel, this time for 80% of the pot. This is a clear mistake. His value range is pretty thin because he is representing only a few overpairs and ace-10, and we have to remember that his preflop range isn't super tight here, so he has a lot of hands with no showdown value. He should be more selective with his bluffs, and king 7 of diamonds isn't a good candidate because with diamonds in his hand he blocks a lot of folds. Linus fought a little bit and folded, and that is also not a preferred action by the solver. We can see that he should call with all top pairs, almost all second pairs, and even some ace highs. And this is versus GTO range. If Patrik is bluffing here too much, as he does here, this fold becomes even worse. In our second hand we catch action on the turn. This is a clash of two small stacks in the field, both with a little bit over 20 big blinds. Artur c-bet for the smallest amount possible on this very dry board, and he should do it with the full range. Haxton raised very small, and that is very interesting here. We see that solver doesn't call here at all, and raises with almost all hands he wants to continue, and that is around half of his range. He has a huge nut advantage here, because Artur shouldn't have many sixes. 8-5 suited with two backdoors can take all possible actions. Martirosian against such a small raise should continue with almost everything. On the turn, Ike went for double check raise, and that is an achievement on 20 big blinds, but solver doesn't love this line. After a 7 that gave him open-ender, it's great card to just bet. Artur has a lot of trash that he will fold right now. Against a check, Artur decided to bet small, and that is also a misplay according to the solver. With this specific combo, he should just check back. There aren't many scary rivers, and this type of hand benefits from getting into showdown, and isn't good enough for 3 streets of value. I locked Ike's range so he has half of 8-5 suited in his checking range, and we see that against a small bet it's a nice candidate to bluff with now. Artur called, and we can see that this is correct play, Against such a small sizing he should continue a lot, so well played. King of Hearts came on the river and Haxton emptied the clip. When we look at his river range, we see that he doesn't have many worse hands, so this is a prime candidate to bluff. Artur was in pain on the river and after a very long tank, he finally folded. And we see that this decision was very close. Solver calls this specific combo of jacks around half of the time. This was a pretty crazy hand, and I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time. Bye.